Hello all, today we're going to compare Philadelphia to New York City. All right, Philly's better, end of video. No, just kidding. We're going to look at cost of living, we're going to look at salaries, we're going to look at real estate, we're going to look at transportation. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Gregory, your local real estate expert. We got you covered for real estate and information living in Philadelphia, living all across our nation. You need some help with any of that? Give me a call, shoot me a text, hit subscribe, hit like, it helps the channel. All right, let's get to it. Philly versus New York. Comparison, a polite comparison. All right, so we got to start with the most famous boxer. Okay, so Philadelphia's got Rocky, New York's got Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, Sugar Ray never boxed Mr. T, so you make up your mind with that. All right, so we got the most famous sandwiches. Now, Philadelphia, of course, has got the cheesesteak. New York, it's got the hot dog, AKA the floater. So Philadelphia is about 95 miles south of Manhattan, and some Philadelphian super commuters actually make that commute twice a day. So Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, offers colonial charm, but a lot of modern amenities as well. As far as the cost of living goes, Philadelphia is nowhere near as expensive as New York or even San Francisco for that matter. We're talking about New York today, and there are still some relatively great bargains on real estate in the Philadelphia region as well. Real estate in Philadelphia is definitely much cheaper, great place for investing. If you need a great realtor, I know one, hint, hint. Super easy to get a home larger than, let's say, a closet in Philadelphia. Similarly priced houses in New York may actually be a closet. To give an example, to rent a 2-bedroom apartment, let's say in Philadelphia, is less than half of what it would be in New York City. Sometimes the houses or the condos, whatever you happen to be buying, could be double, triple, and even quadruple the amount of what you're looking at in New York versus Philadelphia. Not to say we can't get you a great deal in New York. So Pennsylvania, Philadelphia is a few degrees warmer than New York. So when it's snowing in the Big Apple, it's only raining here in the city of brotherly love. So out of America's 10 largest cities, the murder rate in New York is actually a quarter of what it is in Philadelphia. So your chances of getting murdered in Philadelphia are greatly increased than New York. So overall, though, New York is seen as the second most dangerous city when compared to others like LA and DC, and Philadelphia is much more overall less dangerous to live in. Check out our videos on the crime rates in Philadelphia for some more crime data. But hey, it's not a bad place to live. So of those top 10 cities across America, Philadelphia is one of the smallest. Now, it is 135 square miles across, and it is number 2 in population density, which is just behind New York and basically even with Chicago. So pulling market data from the beginning of the year, now this is 2020, right up until the first week of September, we had about 7,500 people from New York move into our fair city, which is about double the amount of people that moved from our fair city to New York. So according to the World Wide Web, and you know if you see it on the internet that it must be true, Philadelphia, the overall cost of living is about 57% less than it is in New York. That's including Lower Queens and Lower Manhattan. The transportation cost in Philadelphia is about 10% less. The food cost is about 17%. Entertainment is about 23%, and healthcare is right around 6% less. So overall, the cost of living in Philadelphia is less based on pure data. It's not so astronomically less that some people might have thought, but certainly you could pad your 401k with any savings or buy an additional investment property, or even have some more fun than you could than spending or living in New York. So the average salary in New York is right around $31,000, and in Philadelphia it's just under $22,000. So you're going to get paid a little bit more in New York, but you're going to pay a little bit more for what you get. So when you consider how much more reasonable the cost of housing is in Philadelphia and the cost of rent that it is in Philadelphia, that difference really makes up a lot. We're also very close to all the Wawas in Pennsylvania, which is where you could spend any of that extra money. And if you're not sure what a Wawa is, hit us up or maybe shoot me a text or comment that down below, but trust me on this one. So the median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Philadelphia across the entire 135 square miles is about $1,400, give or take a little less. Now that same 2-bedroom apartment, similarly speaking, is that a word, similarly? New York is gonna be just over $4,000. Only about a third of New York residents own their homes. And according to census data, just over half of Philadelphians own their home, pretty much because of the cost of rent or the cost of the house versus the cost of rent versus the cost of the house. So Philadelphia's got about 600,000 households, and it's 2.57 people per household. Now, how do you get a half a person? Not really sure, but the average is about 2 to 3 people per household, and nearly 85% of those people are still living in those households, or still living per household over a 10-year span. Now, we're basing this on a lot of census data and just pure raw data, so don't hold us to anything. And of course, we did a web search, and you know how accurate the information is on the web, especially on YouTube, but especially on our channel. So now New York, on the other hand, has over 3 million households with that same 2 to 3 people per household. And the amount of people still living in each of those households over a 10-year span is about 90%. So what does that tell you? Well, it's good to have numbers, but both of these cities love their residents, and their residents love their cities. There's a lot of pride in New York, and a lot of pride in Philly. So the main difference between Philadelphia and New York really isn't the vibe or the lifestyle or the activities, because they're both pretty similar in that, generally speaking, boots on the street, talking to citizens. Philadelphia is a little more laid back than New York. Now, I know what you're thinking. Some of you are thinking, Philadelphia laid back. What did he say? New York looks and feels like a big city, where Philadelphia looks like a big city, but really feels like a tight-knit neighborhood. So while you'll find way more drivers in Philadelphia versus New York City, where a lot of folks in New York, all they use is public transport, but that's all they use in Philadelphia too. But there are a ton more drivers here in Philly, a lot of traffic, but New York's traffic is insane as well. The average monthly commute for a SEPTA card, now that's Philadelphia, is about $80, $85 a month, where that same card in New York Transit is going to run you around $120 per month. Check out our SEPTA video. So New York has about 24 subway lines, where Philadelphia only has 2. So there's a lot more people in Philadelphia, let's say, taking the bus or the trolley car or other form of public transportation versus the subway. You don't feel like riding, you don't feel like paying, you could always walk. That's what a ton of residents here in Philadelphia do. They walk. It's walkable. Check out our walkable neighborhood videos. So another note, I know it's not a big surprise where something is less expensive in Philadelphia versus New York, taxi rides. So we're talking about transportation. So we got taxi, we got Uber, we got Lyft. An average ride could be around $5 in Philadelphia. Now that same ride is going to run you maybe $7 to $10 in New York. Hey, cost of living's higher. Cost of lunch is higher. Some people say that Philadelphia is the 6th borough of New York. Some people come just down from New York to Philadelphia, their 6th borough, for day trips. There really is a lot in common with Philadelphia and New York. If you're visiting Philadelphia, you're going to be in the area, hit us up. Send me an email. Let me know. If you're looking to purchase real estate, of course, I want to help you out with that as well. But if you're looking for information, we are the authority to help, and we're glad to do it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as we enjoyed making it. If you have any questions, you have any comments, hit that down below. Click that subscribe button. Click that bell notification so you're alerted to all the great videos that we put out. We do a ton of epic content here and living in the greater Philadelphia area. We got you covered in the city and out of the city. We got you covered in Jersey. And hey, we got you covered in New York too. Give me a call, shoot me a text anytime. Thanks for stopping out. I'm Gregory Martier, your local real estate and information expert. Have a great day, everybody.